There's a lot of tie-ins between the university and kind of our in-town community. There's a term called the town gown divide, which I think is really interesting, especially thinking about the city of Arcata and how HSU brings so much to our community, but perhaps doesn't get the respect it deserves for that.
Part of the stories that we were hearing was that students were concerned about moving from campus off campus. And so starting that dialogue and starting that education within our landlord community so that they were better prepared to be welcoming for those students as they were ready to move off of campus was a big piece. But the whole concept around Equity Arcata was to really have an open dialogue within the university, the business, and the city around what are the primary disparities that we're seeing. Both what are we hearing anecdotally, but what are we seeing in the data in terms of the disparities? And then where do we have capacity to start to work? So we did a lot of individual interviews, we did a lot of stakeholder groups up on campus, in the community, in the business community, in the nonprofit community. And then we came together a couple of years ago and had sort of a full day symposium of here's the experiences, here's the existing concerns, and here's the desired outcome that we would like to see. So around housing, the existing condition was people of color in our community are experiencing housing discrimination. And the desired outcome is that, you know, everybody found accessible and affordable housing in an environment that they were comfortable. One of the programs specific around housing that we've been working on is a housing deposit fund. That is a huge barrier for students, especially when they're coming from campus housing to off-campus housing. Campus housing, they don't have that deposit, right? So they're moving to this off-campus housing, and that's just a tremendous barrier for a number of our students.
If we really want inclusive institutions, the institution has to change. It has to be more than expecting the students to adjust to the community. The community needs to adjust to the students.
We're all living in Arcata and Humboldt County. There's not really, or there shouldn't be, a divide. If we're able to provide and bring community through our tenant and our landlord relationships, that will help, maybe not solve, but it will help that town gown divide.
I think that what Equity Arcata is about is helping the community lean into this knowledge that it's not enough to have the students simply feel like, yes, show up on the plaza for Saturdays. That's great. But what is the plaza doing to actually welcome them, you know? And I think that we could be doing a lot more. I think that there's a talent, a lot of a reserve of talent and intelligence at HSU, CR, that we haven't even begun to tap. That if integrated into our community, could probably move us just light years in terms of solving some of our social and economic problems. I often say we sort of treat these students like we're kind of like an airport. They come in, they pass through, they spend their money, they spend time here. We don't expect them to stay. We should be treating them like every single one of them is a potential resident that could enrich this area. They come in, we open our doors, we flood them with possible opportunities. We understand our biases and are working on them, and we invite them into that work with us. And then we create economic opportunities for them to explore how to stay here. I think this community would be so much richer. So much richer.